So the next thing I want to talk about, there are so many of you guys, and I'm just saying this to like the general like YouTube sphere, but people who are basically like dropping out of college. Now, so at the time, if you watch the show Grownish, when it was like season one of that show, it was very funny because that was my actual story. Like I had dropped out of college, and unlike Zoe, I wasn't having some identity crisis. I had just started working. So kind of where Zoe is now is where I was. Like I think so many people, first of all, go to the wrong college. And then secondly, they lack study skills and motivation. And then thirdly, they study the wrong thing. So if one of those things is off, you're not going to have a really good college experience. And then if all of those things are off, you should definitely drop out. And also, I think so like if you have prepared yourself in a way where like you are ready for college, as in like first of all you went to a decent enough high school, or you were just like really independent in high school to the point where like you understand the cost of things, you have like figured out some way to pay for college. There's so many ways. Like um if you're internet savvy, even I mean a long time ago, but even now, you can definitely find a way to go to college for free. Even if not, I think there's really something to just getting a job. Okay, just like getting a job. And I'm talking about with no college skills, just getting a job at the Walmart, getting a job at a restaurant, becoming a server assistant, really whatever, anything. Something that makes you like cold hard cash. And then hopefully like if your parents are kind enough and maybe they'll let you stay with them for a year or something while you save money. But even if not, like, you could probably figure out some like there's something to in high school or in the beginning of college kind of understanding your personal financial situation. Like if your parents are supporting you through college, then you should definitely ride it out and graduate because they're paying for it. And like it's there's just not always going to be a time in your life where your parents are willing to pay for shit. Like parents get to a point where they're like, I'm tired of supporting you. I won't do it any longer. They say that and that's real, and then you have to grow the fuck up like all of us and pay your own bills. It's fucking real. So it's not like good parents and bad parents. Like there's no parents who are going to support you forever. Like maybe if they left you a trust fund, because I know a lot of trust fund babies, even those people have to work. Like there's always like stipulations for you to access the money. Like if you drop out of college or something, or you don't work in the industry that your parents want you to work in, you won't get access to the trust fund. Or like you have to take over the family. But there's like so every family has different rules for gaining inheritance, but there's nobody, well, very few people who are able to just sit on their asses and do nothing. Even Paris Hilton, like, used her social media influence to capitalize. She sold like fragrances, hair, weaves, all type of shit. Now she sells nails. Like she's forever selling something. Okay. Anyway, so like if you don't have some, social media mogul situation to sell, you can just sell your labor. That's a real thing. There's always going to be companies who need and want your labor. And it's like super useful to the marketplace. So you should do that for real. So the reason that I think some of the things, like, it's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know the girlies who are all like taking all these trips and shit places. Like, I really don't know how they're paying for this. Those are questions that I have, and I don't want to get on here and give you unrealistic advice. Like, you should do this and that, and you should, like, when you have $0 in your bank account, you should just go to Paris. Like, I definitely don't think that, okay? But what I do think that you can do is, like, if you're like, well, I want to go live in Paris, and then you work for a year and save, like, a large portion of money, then you can just actually go spend 2 months, 3 months, or something living in Paris. That's a real thing. Or Italy, Brazil, anywhere, really. Um, like your money will take you wherever you want to go. Seriously. And like you definitely should use your money to live out your dreams because what else is there? Right? Like for real. Mm, yeah, I guess I could have said more meaningful things about this topic, but the point is like a lot of you guys aren't ready for traditional college, mostly because like you haven't figured out finances at all and you don't have any lived real world lived experience. Like you just don't know how anything works and for the most part, a lot of shit just comes down to money, which is like when you travel abroad, you will realize that like things are so cheap in other places besides like Europe, that you can pay for virtually everything. You can watch travel channels on YouTube that are telling you they're like, 1 penny, I got a whole meal in Thailand or something. Like I told you guys how I went to Brazil and was eating at Italy every night. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You can do these things. And all you have to do is just save for it. That's it. I still I guess like there's really something to understanding your own history. So like understanding where it is that you came from, uh, certain struggles that maybe your family members had and how you might aspire to live differently than them just because like you want to have a better life. Like that is great and that is something to be proud of. But I do feel like a lot of kids who are just very young, especially these Gen Zers, like they just don't understand anything. Like there are entire families, entire tribes who live in the developing world all over Asia, all over Africa, all over Central and Latin America. And they have like culture and heritage and economies and all these things. So even though the price of stuff is low, there's still quite a lot of tradition there. There are reasons that those economies are not as developed as American economies, and I don't think that's something that these like traveling tourists care to understand. And to me, it takes away the symbolism from the travel. Um, it's another reason why I really like the Indigo Travel channel. He goes to like a lot of impoverished places and really chats with locals so that you can get a really good idea of like what it's actually like to live there. I feel like there are some channels who are like lacking that. Um yeah. So maybe taking a break from college is good because it could give you time to grow up. The only problem is if you stay with your parents, you won't grow. And then also, it's kind of like college is cool because like it's like you're learning and growing and going through this like developmental phase together with your peers, which is really important. Um, I can't even stress the value of that enough. Just like continuously being in a space around people your age is so important to your own developmental growth. It is something that you need, which is why like you really should try to use your adolescent years to prepare yourself to go off. You want to prepare yourself to adult because after college, like after you graduate, that's a really good time to take a gap year. Take a year off to just be like, I'm going to figure some shit out. That's a really good time for that. It's an excellent time for that. But I think doing it before you graduate is super weird, right? That's just my opinion.